Sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Pooja. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
So the chief guest of today, she has also joined. So with your permission, may we start?
Yeah, certainly.
Yes,
Thank
okay,
you,
sir.
sir.
A very pleasant morning to all distinguished dignitaries and esteemed colleagues from the teaching fraternity to the porters of Sri Aurobindo College of Commerce and Management in the inaugural session of the two-day national workshop on delivery and design of case management, principal and faculty of Sri Aurobindo College of Commerce and Management, Ludhiana. I, Monica Sethi, extend a very warm welcome to the virtual gathering of academia and intellectuals in the two-day long digital carnival of learning. We are very honored and obliged to have amongst us Professor Anju Suri, the Dean College Development Council, Panjab University, Chandigarh, as the chief guest for today's event. Also, Professor Parikshit Manhas, Rector, Udhampur Campus, University of Jammu, is the guest of honor for today's event. And Professor Nawab Ali Khan, the Chairman, Department of Commerce, Aligarh Muslim University, will be the keynote speaker in today's inaugural ceremony. Hearty welcome to you, ma'am and sir. We are also very privileged to have principals, head of departments, administrative heads of various university departments, faculty members, and research scholars from institutions across different parts of the country, including the states of Haryana, Maharashtra, Himachal Pradesh, and Punjab. We also feel delighted to acknowledge the presence of Padma Bhushan awardee Sri S.P. Oswal, the chief patron of this workshop and the chairman college governing body in today's inaugural event. Thank you, sir, for gracing the occasion.
My
Now,
pleasure.
with the Thank you, sir. Now, with the blessings of Sri Aurobindo and the Revered Mother, let me start by a brief detail about our college and this workshop. Set up in the year 2004 as one of the foremost centers of specialized learning in the industrial town of Ludhiana, Sri Aurobindo College of Commerce and Management has stemmed from the philosophy of the great Indian sage and seer Sri Aurobindo and the mother. The college is run by a trust named Sri Aurobindo Socio-Economic and Management Research Institute. The seeds of this temple of learning were sown by a visionary leader, legendary educationist, and a celebrated industrialist, Padma Bhushan awardee Sri S.V. Oswal, who had a great passion to contribute towards the cause of education. It is often remarked that organizations can be built if there is a vision, and the vision is accompanied by willpower and zeal to perform and succeed. Actualizing this statement, under the able guidance and constant support of our beacon of inspiration, Venerable Sri Oswal, the college has been able to establish its name with repute in a short span of 17 years by developing a culture of excellence based upon the precious values of merit and discipline. And it is a matter of great pride to share with the august gathering that the college, affiliated to the prestigious Panjab University Chandigarh, has been accredited with grade A by the National Assessment and Accreditation Council NAC in the very first cycle of its accreditation. The college strongly believes in the notion that faculty development is a continuous and never-ending process. Therefore, constantly upgrading standards of education by radically improving the teaching learning pedagogies and grooming the faculty has become a way of life at SHTM. This two-day long national workshop is part of the ongoing endeavors by the governing body to empower the faculty and polish their teaching skills. This very powerful student-centric teaching pedagogy of case study has been selected as a theme for this workshop due to its extensive application in research, education, and the real business world. This workshop will enable the trained teachers to hone the critical thinking ability and analytical skills of their students back in their classroom. With these words, Now I would invite our worthy principal of the college, Professor Dr. Vishal Kumar, who has been a guiding light behind this meticulously conceived and executed workshop, to welcome the esteemed gathering. Dr. Vishal, over to you, sir.
Thank you, Madam Monica. On behalf of Shri Aurobindo College of Commerce and Management, let me acknowledge with the deepest gratitude a hearty welcome to the living metaphors. Padma Bhushan Shri S.P. Oswalji, Honorable Chairman Shri Aurobindo College of Commerce and Management and Chairman Vardhaman Group, Chief Guest of the Day, Professor Anju Suri, Dean College Development Council, Panjab University, Chandigarh, Guest of Honor, Professor Parikshit Singh Manhas, Rector, Udhampur Campus, and Director, School of Hospitality and Tourism Management, and University Business Innovation Cell, University of Jammu. Keynote speaker, Professor NAWAB Ali Khan Saab, Chairman, Department of Commerce, Aligarh Muslim University. Participants from various universities and colleges of India, a very warm welcome to all of you. I'm delighted to see you all with us today to bless our college by the effulgence of your knowledge on the inaugural session of this two-day national workshop on delivery and design of case studies. Shri Aurobindo College of Commerce and Management is eminently reputed for inviting star speakers to its portals for enriching its faculty and the students through their informative, experiential, and inquisitive talks. This has been and is a history making practice with this college with a difference. Though it is a commerce and management college, yet Honorable Chairman Sir firmly believes in holistic development of its wards. This workshop will give a deeper insight into the art and methodology of making a relevant, meaningful, and empirical case study and opening new vistas for its stakeholders. I express my deep sense of gratitude to our worthy chairman, sir, for gracing the occasion and motivating us to organize such events. These intellectual events help in making our teachers better teachers and students better students. Right. Now, it pleases me immensely to acquaint the enlightened gathering with the mighty presence of none other than the great industrialist and an ace intellectual, Shri S.P. Oswalji. The visionary and missionary Shri Oswal, fired with zeal of serving the society, gave the people of Ludhiana this exclusive College of Commerce and Management in 2004. Since then, it has been etching for itself milestone after milestone academically, culturally, and entrepreneurially. Now, I wish to take the opportunity of making a humble request to our most honorable chairman, Padma Bhushan, Shri S.P. Oswalji, to enrich our listeners with his seasoned address. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Principal Aurobindo College, and all the luminaries who have joined in the inaugural session to address and participants. I express my happiness and convey my greetings to all of you on this occasion. Then you will have the opportunity to deliberate in depth about the relevance of the case studies to the students of management and commerce. Well, the science of management has evolved, if you really look at it, out of the experiences gathered, gleanings from the failures, successes of the businesses, enterprises, institutions, be that in the army, military, or be that in the commercial world. So it is virtually the experience analyzed later on and evolved in the form of a knowledge Principles of Management. I remember that the book I read long back in 1960 by Fjord, Principles of Management, 5 Principles of Management. Now, all were related to certain studies, and therefore, this becomes very relevant that this particular seminar becomes very relevant that we need not just be looking at what has been studied elsewhere, but what we need to study also in our vicinity, in our own country, in our own society, which has different ethos, social, cultural, and different ways of working, keeping in view the harmony possibility that we have to build within the organization, knowing the attitudes and behavior of the people, and the customs that possibly govern us in our society. Every society is different. And therefore, case studies become very relevant because what we learn from Western world, the science is based on far more on the Western world understanding of organization, human behavior, and therefore have been guided by and large that will prevail. I don't disagree that those are principles which need to be altered, but they need to be understood in our context of the society, context of our behavior, and we therefore need to adapt. So our times, the importance of case studies in our society cannot be understated at all. Rather, every institution has an obligation to encourage, promote the case studies and make sure rather that what we talk of research, it is based on case studies of industrial organizations, particularly in disciplines like management, financial management, or organizational behavior, HR. Now, these case studies will enrich not only the faculty, but make the teachings more relevant when we quote examples which are known to the students, which give a living example before them, a lively example before them, illustrating the success or failure of enterprises by virtue of certain actions, policies, decisions which they have taken negatively or positively, and therefore creating a body of knowledge. We do in our Sri Aurobindo College, we did realize the importance of case studies. And if I recall correctly, that we introduced this long back, which was interrupted by the COVID pandemic. And I think number of state case studies have been written by the faculty, with the assistance of students also in some cases, or group of faculties together by going to industry or even hospital institutions to understand and comprehend that the success they have achieved and the reasons of success and how did they manage to scale up to achieve those goals which they possibly set out for themselves. So the philosophy of management and commerce, in my view, is based on the realities of today's world. But world is changing, it's challenging, and therefore any case studies done in the past or in any other society may be relevant to some extent, may not be relevant all the time or to our society in the same way. And we need to therefore create our own knowledge out of experiences. I may give you that we in our organization in Vardhaman also prompting people to write case studies whenever we solve any big major complex problem. The problem cannot be solved by individuals. They can be solved by a set of individuals and coordinations achieved by different departments. If the problem relates not to one department but the organization relating to many departments. I can illustrate one case which is very relevant, which I faced in 1982. And case was that we had a labor problem in 1982 in Vardhaman. It was a very terrible problem, got out of hand, the worker became violent, and there was a lockdown. Now, there was, because of the violence, we suffered consequences, which were very, very, difficult to control or manage. But luckily, we would come out of this. But one issue arose. Why did the worker become violent? So we had a brainstorming sessions in our management. I could at least make sure that the management remains intact by leading them from the front. And then one of the workshops, and one of the brainstorming session, one person told me that, sir, most Biharis were there involved, Bihari and some Eastern UP people were involved in the violence, led by a leader in Ludhiana. But anyway, what is important is that the brainstorming session, we said that, look, we care for them, we have a colony, we care for the festivals, etc. So somebody said, sir, Biharis normally are a little more violent set of people, and let's therefore not recruit them. Then another person said, well, let's study what is Bihari character. No, he's very God-fearing. He does a lot of puja or own way. He is very obedient to the parents. He sends money by cutting down his own expenditure here and saving body. And three, that they are very social people, because one Bihari who wants to go to the village, so many people go together. So a lot of information came out, and then we found that what changes them, doesn't inspire them, is that they are first time workers in their families. 1982 was not a big, long period of our experience also, but they were first time workers in their families also, maybe in the village also, in the industrial worker. They may be worker in the agriculture. What we were training them was only skill development. We never trained them in the behavioral management. Now, virtually we found that it is not their fault. What has gone wrong with our training processes is that we have not understood their behavior. We have not tried to bring them a new set of values of behavior in the organization where they have to work in the team under a supervisor, to be obeying him. And so we then decided to create what we call Manav Vikas Kendra, which has become now central to our organization. Every organization, we have got 19 organizations spread out in Panjab, Madhya Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, and Gujarat. And everywhere there will be a separate building for Manav Vikas Kendra, where the workers are trained not only in the skill, but also in giving them a certain organizational behavior, attitudinal training. Now, this was a case which we were studying at that time. Why did it happen? Now, had we not gone extensively into the investigation and study of human character, we would not have possibly come to the right conclusion. And today you'll be surprised. Since then, we had no labor problem. One outstanding achievement out of this case study was this, that we did not get any labor problem, never any violence. If there are issues, we discuss together, we sort it out. Now, therefore, case study, this is one case study which I undertook myself to look into the reasons of this, to solve the problem. So when case studies are undertaken by the faculty and the students, they can understand better the principles of philosophy of management and which will be advancing their career when they go. And I have been able to convince my faculty at least that Ludhiana is full of enterprises, small, medium, and large. And therefore, the great opportunity offered to them to undertake studies. And I have seen people offering themselves. Please come and you can be ready to cooperate. So in my view, rather than just adopting cases of learnings or gleanings from those cases which have been written in the books and which we teach them as they are, or in the magazines that they come, whether it's a Harvard Business Review or a California Management Review, we may therefore look at our case studies, which I think many of the institutions like Ahmedabad, IIM Ahmedabad is also doing, and in their magazine also extensively being given. So we in Aurobindo College must create our own set of learnings out of the case studies. And I remember I've gone through some of the case studies which were made by, prepared by our faculty out of their interaction with the business organizations, which really were very successful. And some of it were also published in some magazines, I remember, outside by good institutions. And it will not only be beneficial to the faculty in holding and in understanding the philosophy and the principles of management as they teach, but they can therefore quote a particular case which is a living case before the students. So they can grasp it far better, the knowledge far better than what they possibly learn in the books, which is only textbooks. As they go into business or enterprises or institutions to serve, they will carry that knowledge more convincingly and with better conviction, and possibly their application will also improve. Case study offers us great opportunities of understanding our environment, our society. Also, the behavioral aspects are different. In Punjab, that can be different. In Madhya Pradesh, it can be somewhat different. In India, it may be different compared to many other countries, because I said that before, that our value judgments are different compared to. In America, a person is given a yellow card. In India, it cannot be accepted. It will create a lot of fear in the minds of the people. Now, the same principle or same application may put the organization upside down. We therefore need to be very careful in understanding our ethos, social and cultural ethos, our attitudes and behavior, and therefore adopt certain principles with some changes or alterations, rather than just go ahead with the conclusion drawn from extraneous cases which are not relevant possibly in Indian context. But knowledge is important. Cases may not be same, but the principles are unalterable in my view, whether it's the planning, coordination, control, all those principles of management still hold good in my view, and the way science of management being enriched by many great authors, even today, as I go through Harvard Business Reviews on these are my regular studies, and I keep on learning from them, even today, with all the knowledge of all the experience that I have for 55 years of spending in business and developing my business. But even then, it is not, you cannot be accomplished by your own achievements or your failures. You have to be accomplished by all the experiences of many. And the case study therefore will give us that opportunity, because not only I am running the organization, many others are running the organization successfully, and they may be running with the different practices than possibly what we may be doing. So we went to see the combination of all practices. I mean, what is important is what works. Underlying principle may be the same, but practices may be different. How do you practice it? How sharply you practice particular principle or delegation or control or HR processes. You know, HR processes are very important in every organization. And this is what I have given you the illustration of HR process in my own case. And there are many cases. Within my own organization, I have got about 75 cases written on various problems that we have solved. I never allow a complex problem which have been solved over a period of more than 3 months to 4 months, remain unwritten. I say this must be gleanings from that case, must be put down for future references to our own managers in the time to come. So I am sure that the principal GSG has taken a very correct initiative in organizing this case study seminar, and I'm sure the luminaries like the chairman of the departments of various universities here will be able to contribute to their enrichment. With these words, I wish all of you very success in the seminar, and I hope the participants will be gaining a lot through this seminar. And not only that, but I will urge upon the principal that let us revive our case study practice since COVID situation is over, and we must make sure that at least 15 cases every year are written in based on experience on the organizations in Ludhiana or around the Panjab or anywhere else in the country, whosoever wants to take up the case. And we have a set out policy also encouraging our faculty to undertake those cases so that they may not be losing their valuable time. They may feel that we are facilitating the case studies. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share my experience. I have been a student of management myself from Department of Commerce and Management, though not MBA, but MCOM. And even at that time, I was a great admirer of, great scholar of management who's no more, practices of management, Byron Peter. So, so he has contributed a great deal to the science of management. So thank you very much, Principal.
Thank you very much, sir, for your words of wisdom.
Thank you very much, sir. You have rightly shared, Chairman Sir, that the exposure that the faculty of this college got after meeting the industry people and then writing the cases that we wrote, it has really enriched our faculty of knowledge that we have in turn shared with our students. So thank you for all those initiatives that were taken by you and the governing body, sir. Thank you again. And I also feel strongly that this address by Chairman Sir, it has really set up a very ideal platform for this 2-day learning journey of this workshop for the upcoming 2 days. Thank you again. So moving on, distinguished assemblage present in this virtual platform, let me share that this momentous occasion is a privileged opportunity for all of us to listen to academicians par excellence. To start off this event, I would introduce our guest of honor, Dr. Parikshit Manhas, an astute academician, an avid researcher, and an exceptional administrator. Professor Manhas is the Rector, Udhampur campus and Director, School of Hospitality and Tourism Management, University of Jammu. He is also the Director, University Business Incubation and Innovation Center, and the CEO and Promoter Director of University of Jammu Special Purpose Vehicle Foundation. Sir is also a member Task Force for Implementation of National Education Policy 2020, Government of Jammu and Kashmir, and the co-leader, Organizing Committee of UN-WTO Affiliate Members Working Group. Professor Manhas is also the Regional Director, Asia and Eastern Europe for CED World Center of Excellence for Destinations. He's also the President, Commerce Management Association of India, besides other prominent positions that he is holding. His research interests include tourism, hospitality management, sustainable and responsible tourism, post-conflict tourism, and peace-building strategies, revival tourism, to name a few. He is also on the editorial boards of many reputed national and international journals. He has authored many books and has more than 100 research papers to his credit. So without delaying further, let me invite Professor Parikshit Manhas to address the virtual assembly. Parikshit sir, over to you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Namaskar. I hope I'm audible in a proper way.
Yeah,
First
you're
of all,
audible.
thank you to Honorable Chairman Padam Bhushan Shri S.P. Oswal ji, Chairman of Shri Aurobindo College and Commerce Management and Vardhaman Group. Obviously, we have all grown up listening about Vardhaman Group and hearing about it and the achievements that this group has done. Thank you, sir. It was pleasure listening to you. We are blessed that we could listen to you and look at the real case studies that you have, and with your knowledge and with the type of practical information you have, I think we all are very belittled in front of you. My brother Vishal, thank you for inviting me and thank you for having me. To all the distinguished guests present over here, eminent speakers and participants, a very good morning once again. The MC made me look very good, and I'll try to keep it up to that. She was introducing me in a very, very positive manner. The aspect that we are going to discuss, or that is going to be discussed over next 2 days regarding delivery and design of case studies, is a very, very important aspect. Now, the point is that practical applications of our education are very important. Practical applications of whatever we're studying in the classroom is very important, as well as what is happening in the real-time situations around the globe within the industry is also very important, because of the fact that as we have been seeing that over the years, or especially in past 7-8 years, we have come out with very, very important campaigns, right from Startup India to setting up of incubation centers, innovation centers, design thinking. All these concepts are building up in our country also. The very important aspect, if we want these practical aspects of our education to grow and to see to it that our students are industry ready, obviously they have to be taught various sorts of case studies, and they have to be made acquainted while they are passing through their educational setup with what is going on in the practical world, so that they are industry ready, so that they are able to do their jobs in a most effective and efficient manner. And I feel that this is an apt topic. Congratulations to Aurobindo College that they are starting a practice on that. And I could see here Oswal sir talking about the fact that this college is going to come out with another 15 case studies every year. So that's a good target, Vishal. You should start working on that particular aspect, because that will be a huge sort of, I'll say, an achievement also, and in a way a giveaway to the students of our next generations, where they would be able to understand what is actually going on. I'll give my couple of cents on what should be. I know there are resource persons who are going to talk about the case studies, but I'll give a couple of things that people should be aware of, or the youngsters or the teachers who are writing case studies should be aware of what should be present in these case studies. First of all, 3 keywords: focused, logical, and consistent. These are 3 very important keywords when you are writing a case study, when you are trying to see to it that your students are able to read what is actually going on in the practical world. So they have to be very, very focused, very logical, and consistent. Never lose track of the main question or the main issue present in the case study. That's a very, very important aspect. Usually what happens is, we are writing, we lose our focus. We lose the fact that what is the main issue, what is the main question, but we are not able to talk about it. It must be original. This is a very important aspect, because a lot of researches coming out of my country sometimes are not original, which does not put us in good light as international level. And if students or the teachers are encouraged to go and meet the industry practitioners, obviously they'll come out with original aspects and original things. Another thing that I would like to say about the case studies is that it should have 3 very important ingredients. Issue has to be there, as sir was talking about the strike in his campus, and where the Bihari or the Eastern So that issue has to be there. A proper research design has to be built up, and who is actually going to benefit out of it, or what are the derived benefits. So these are other three ingredients which I always keep talking about should be present in your case study. And a very, very relevant fact in today's scenario and in today's industry that we can see and that is being present is built up case studies which talk about academia, government and industry interface, AGI, because we want academia, government and industry to work hand in hand. A very prominent case study or a very prominent example of academia, government and industry interface has been our Incredible India campaign, where government and where practitioners from government, the former IAS officers, CEO of Niti Aayog, Amitabh Kant was there, industry practitioners were called on board, and academicians contributed in a very big and a positive manner towards that. So when we are looking at building up a case study, look at this AGI model and how these things could be built up, could be worked out. And when we are talking about AGI thing, academic, government and industry interface, I'm practically or primarily talking about the fact that there has to be collaborations. And try to, when you're building up a case study, try to see to it what collaborative opportunities or value systems could be inculcated in these case studies. That's going to be a very, very important aspect. We constantly keep talking about innovation and we constantly keep talking about startups and incubation centers and all that. But very important component is technology. It's technology interventions which is actually streamlining the tourism or building hospitality industry, trying to get innovation in that. It is the technology interventions which is actually getting hold of medicines, or in COVID era also we could see how technology. So various innovations are actually technology driven. And when you are writing a case study, working on a case study, your understanding vis-a-vis technology requirements with respect to organizational and functional boundaries is a very, very important aspect. So I would always recommend all my young students, all my teachers, all my colleagues to work on these technology requirements and see to it that the how factor of collaboration and how factor of research is understood by it. Because the fact is that usually issue is highlighted, but how it is going to be solved, how an innovation is going to be brought up, that is not looked at. And a very important aspect vis-a-vis your case studies is a long-term interrelationships. As sir was talking about the fact that since then, till date, they never had such a major issue because the result out of that case study was their workshops and all those things that they were holding, because of which their employees were learning. So that's a very important aspect. Look at that long-term interrelationships. And a very important aspect is your case studies should be pointing out removal of that grapevine communication. Grapevine communication is usually one of those things which usually leads to that this aspect of conflict or problems. Couple of skills which I would recommend my youngsters or my teachers or my colleagues to have when they're thinking of writing case studies. These skills are apart from your academic credentials. I'm saying one important aspect is your tech savviness, your technology usage. Why I keep talking about this particular thing is because there is so much content available online. Aajkal itne webinars hue hain, there have been so many seminars, so many workshops, so many things conducted around the globe. How do you understand and build out the best out of them? So there is so much data in this virtual space, but you should be tech savvy, technologically competent to process that data, take information out of it and convert into knowledge thinking. So that is the skill you all should have. This creativity and innovation would be another aspect which you all should be possessing, so that you can write in a competent manner. Your critical thinking. Critical thinking is another keyword or another skill which I always recommend my young colleagues or my seniors to have when they are thinking of writing case studies. And digital marketing and business skills, because what we see is the digital revolution has in a way hit the industry in a very big way, in a positive manner, but it has hit in a very big way. And these digital marketing and business skills would actually be very, very important to help you grow, help you build up, help you to write something properly. And my favorite is commit to lifetime of learning. I could see the passion behind sir, how he was speaking and how he was expressing his things. So that is the commitment towards lifetime of learning. Commit towards a lifetime of learning. Never ever feel that I have had enough. I have had reached the pinnacle. No, that's not the. Always read, always write, and be very motivated towards reading and writing. And the last aspect, I'll not take much of your time. The last is my 5 mantras that I always give. And these 5 mantras are A, E, I, O, U. These are the 5 vowels. And for the first is adaptability. Obviously, your work has to be adaptable in various situations. If it is not adaptable, it cannot be adapted in the real-time situations. It's of no use. I have a favorite question whenever I go and evaluate my PhD thesis or PhD viva, or when I ask my students when they are thinking of doing PhD, I say what amount of value you put on your research. Because if it is not adaptable in the real-time value, if no industry is willing to buy your research, there is no fun of doing that research. We are not going to enhance the bookstores. We are not going to add up to the libraries, but we are going to add to the practical knowledge. So adaptability is a very important aspect. Your efficiency is going to be another very important aspect when you think about working on case studies. Inclusivity. I stands for inclusivity, where I keep talking about the fact that when you are trying to write a case study, when you're trying to develop a case study, inclusive as possible, because that is actually going to help you understand the whole crux of things. Opportunity, obviously, find out the opportunities within the O stands for opportunity. Find out the opportunities that your case study is going to deliver for the industry. So that's a very important, because as a businessman, as an industrialist, you would be looking at the opportunities which could be converted into revenue terms. And the last but not the least is the U. U stands for universalism, where I keep talking about that your aspects should be universally applicable. Whatever aspects that are being covered with your study is concerned, they should be universally applicable. I think that was my time, and I have taken enough of your time. But thank you, Vishal, for having me. Thank you, Chairman, sir. For it was pleasure listening to you, and thank you to Aurobindo College for giving me an opportunity to speak. Namaskar, Jai Hind.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rector sir. In spite of your, you were not well since evening, but still you have joined. I'm really grateful.
Thank you, Parikshit sir, for all these valuable insights that you have shared and even the practical tips that you have shared for the case writing. Thank you again, sir. So, moving further, I would now introduce the vibrant keynote speaker of this inaugural session, Professor Dr. Nawab Ali Khan, the Chairman, Department of Commerce, Aligarh Muslim University. Professor Khan has been the Dean, Faculty of Commerce, Aligarh Muslim University also. In his over 3 decades-long professional career, with a PhD on the theme Problems of Labor Relations in the Textile Mills of Uttar Pradesh, he has imparted research supervision to many doctoral, postdoctoral, and postgraduate students. His core area of specialization include human resource management, accounting, and finance. Professor Khan has more than 50 research papers in the reputed national and international journals. He has also been the principal investigator of 5 research projects funded by Ministry of Education, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Sir has also been on the editorial boards of many reputed national and international journals and has organized large number of seminars, conferences, and delivered number of keynote addresses and special addresses at numerable national and international seminars and conferences. Apart from this, Dr. Khan has also been member of many academic and administrative bodies of a large number of universities and institutions in India and abroad. And the list of his qualifications and achievements goes on and on. Without taking the scholarly audience wait anymore, I would invite respected Professor Nawab Ali Khan to deliver his much awaited keynote address. Professor Nawab Ali Khan, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much. Professor Vishal, am I audible properly? Okay,
Yes, sir,
thank
you
you
are
very
audible.
much. Most Honorable Shri SP Oswal Ji, Chairman, Governing Body, Shri Aurobindo College of Commerce and Management, Ludhiana. Professor Dr. Vishal Kumar, Workshop Director, and Principal of the Shri Aurobindo College. Guest of Honor, Professor Rakshat Manhas, Rector, Campus and Director, University of Jammu. Chief Guest, Professor Anju Suri, ma'am, College of Development College, Panjab University, Chandigarh. and other dignitaries, students, colleagues, friends. A very warm good morning to all. When I was listening to the sir in his inaugural address, it reminded me of one of my visits to Ludhiana when we met on an occasion. So the charisma, sir, you have in your personality. After that, if nothing is, I mean, the program should be ended. Once you speak, the program should be ended. That's what my firm failure. Anyhow, I am fortunate enough, and I express my deep sense of gratefulness to Professor Vishal for giving me an opportunity to be with you all. The theme is very important. In fact, it is highly important in current situation. So many things are there in my mind that I want to share with you all. Like children in Suri, researchers are often spoiled for choice when it comes to determining which tools to use to address a research question. This includes an array of qualitative and quantitative research tools, ranging from beat researcher to an in-depth case studies. Given the time and the cost restraints of many projects, more in-depth methods are often pursued as time-consuming and frequently dismissed. Based on my experience, here are my thoughts on the value and challenges of case studies in social sciences research, because I'm from social sciences. You all know that the case studies are an in-depth investigation of one particular individual, group, time period, or event. They encompass a range of qualitative and quantitative research tools to investigate underlying principles of an occurrence within a real-life context. So a case study is an empirical inquiry that investigates a contemporary phenomenon within its real-life context, especially when the boundaries between the phenomenon and the context are not clearly evident. When to use a case study, Sir was pointing out this fact very importantly. More variables of interest than data points, multiple sources of evidences, the benefits from prior theoretical propositions, guiding data collection and analysis in answering how and why kind of questions. So the benefits that we can see from the case studies consists of a few important aspects. The most significant benefit of case studies is that they enable a holistic review. Unlike standalone research techniques which give more of a snapshot, for example, surveys, a case study offers the opportunity for a researcher to use a range of tools in one subject. This gives time and space to build a detailed understanding on the topic, establishing a sound platform from which to explore and factors influencing the case study in greater detail. Moreover, the case studies capture a range of perspectives as opposed to the single view of an individual we get with the survey response of the interview. This gives the opportunity to gain a greater understanding of the subject in hand and reduces the potential for any bias by diluting the agenda of a particular individual. There are some challenges to the case studies. Common criticism of these case studies is that the findings cannot be summarized. However, we have found when they are part of broader research, case study can look to explore common problems in greater detail. This is the most important challenge for the case studies, which has a wider relevance. Apart from this, in social sciences or in social science research, maintaining participants' anonymity helps to provide a true picture of what is happening. Studies have shown that participants are more open when the research team in situations where they are confident that their identity will not be disclosed. However, maintaining anonymity can be challenging given the detailed nature of the case study. So for in-depth case studies, it may be appropriate to seek confirmation that lead to participant agree that the material is enormous and accurate, enabling the confidence on both the parts of the researcher and the participant. However, the process of gaining permissions can take time and result in additional situations of the published data, published research. Apart from this, one more thing is there that I want to share with you all. That is, the case studies can be time consuming. Planning multiple interviews, waiting to receive data, and possibly coordinating focus groups can take a considerable amount of time, especially if you are relying on a case study participant who is often acting in a voluntary capacity and busy fulfilling their day-to-day tasks. Yet these issues can be overcome by offering participants incentives, outlining what is required from the participant at the outset, and also sending notification of deadlines well in advance. So there are, based on these challenges, we can find that there are some strengths of case studies, because the case studies provide detailed, or we can say that rich qualitative information, and also these provide insights for further research. And of course, these permit investigation of otherwise impractical or unethical situations. So case studies allow a researcher to investigate a topic in far more detail than might be possible if they were trying to deal with a large number of research participants with the aim of averaging. This is what is done in case of the researchers. Because of their in-depth, multi-sided approach, case studies often shed light on the aspects of human thinking and also behavior that would be unethical or impractical to study in other ways. And also, one more important strength of the case studies, as sir was pointing out, that case studies are often used in exploratory research. They can help us generate new ideas that might be tested by other methods. They are an important way of illustrating theories and can help show how different aspects of a person's life are related with each other. But at the same time, we should not ignore some of the limitations which are associated with the case studies. Case studies, generally people say, and I have also come across while doing my researches, that lacking scientific rigor and providing little basis for generalizations of the results to the wider population is one of the important limitations for the case studies. Researchers' own subjective feeling may influence the case study. This is called the researcher bias. And also, it is difficult to replicate. In case of the case studies, we also know that these are time consuming and expensive. And the volume of data, together with the time restriction in place, impacted on the depth of the analysis that was possible within the available resources. So because a case study deals with only one person, one event or group, we can never be sure that if these case studies are investigated are representatives of the wider body of similar instances. This means that the conclusions drawn from a particular case may not be transferable to other settings, because case studies are based on the analysis of qualitative, that is the descriptive data, and it depends on interpretation of the researcher. This means that there is a lot of scope for observer bias, and it could be that the subjective opinions in the assessment of what data means. Here, one more important point that I need to focus is the research design. Research design is a complex part. It's a difficult part of doing case studies because there's no roadmap exists. Logical plans to go from A to B, where A is equal to initial set of questions to be answered, and B is equal to conclusions of the study, logical, not a logical problem, not a logistical problem, I must say. So research design can be seen as a blueprint of research, what questions to study, what data are relevant, what data are to collect, how to analyze the results. The case studies require its own research design in a very special way. That is the questions, propositions, units of analysis, linking data to propositions, and also the criteria for interpreting the findings. I believe that the case studies enable researchers to gain more detailed, unbiased understanding of a complex situation through the use of a range of research tools. This real-life view places the research organization in a stronger position to confidently recommend practical solutions to the challenges. While there are some difficulties which are associated with the delivery of the case studies, these can be overcome through forward planning, background research, and informed participant selection. In fact, the time has come where all the organizations, where all the researchers should think of their researches based on the case studies. These are a few of my observations, which I want to end with these words, that research is a continuous process. And if it is done through the case studies method, the results will be worthwhile. Thank you very much to Professor Vishal. Once again, time is a constant, so I will end my discussion here. Thank you, sir, very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Sir, I think you have, in a very comprehensive way, you have explained the conducting of the case study research, all the practical issues involved, and even the challenges that might be faced by any researcher. So I think your keynote has set up a perfect foundation and a base for the upcoming 2 days workshop that we are going to now attend later on. Thank you, sir. And now is the opportune moment to introduce the Honorable Chief Guest of the day, Madam Dr. Anju Suri, a very capable administrator, a dynamic educationist, and a prominent personality, Professor Dr. Anju Suri, the Dean College Development Council and Professor Department of History, Panjab University, Chandigarh. An alumna from Punjabi University, Patiala, Professor Suri has been a top ranker, a gold medalist, throughout her stint as the university student. She has also been awarded the prestigious Chancellor's Gold Medal for Academic Excellence. The area of specialization of Madam Anju Suri is modern Indian history with special reference to British paramountcy and social political history of India, including Punjab. Madam, she joined Department of History, Panjab University, Chandigarh in the year 2000. Professor Suri has to her credit 3 research books and has authored many renowned books like The Princely States, British Paramountcy and Internal Administration, a case study of Kapurthala State, British Paramountcy in Jaipur State, and has also co-edited the book entitled History Perspectives. Professor Anju Suri has also contributed about 40 research papers in journals of national and international repute. 11 students have completed PhD under her guidance, 7 others are currently pursuing PhD, and more than a dozen students have completed MPhil under her able supervision. Professor Suri has played a very important role in many meetings of UGC and UPSC as their committee member. She has also been the member of postgraduate and undergraduate board of studies in many reputed universities like Central University Dharamshala, MD University Rohtak, Punjabi University Patiala, and Lovely Professional University Fagwara, to name a few. Ma'am has also been the chairperson of Department of History between 2017 and 2020. She has also been a member of Administrative Committee of Students' Aid Fund of Punjab University, External Subject Expert of Research Promotion Committee, Punjab University, Editor of Punjab University Research Journal, and member of Editorial Board of the journal Virasat from JRNRV University, Udhampur. Ma'am Suri has also worked as Dean International Students from 2020-21 and has organized various international webinars and conferences besides many book releases of various eminent personalities of national and international status. Among her recent academic achievements, she has acted as a convener of the third International Conference on Saraswati River 2019, which was organized by Panjab University and Haryana Saraswati Heritage Development Board. She also has chaired a technical session of the 6th South Asian History Conference, which was organized by Punjabi University Patiala, and has acted also as director of ICSSR sponsored national seminar organized by the Punjab University. She also has been acting as directors in many seminars. To name one, she has been the director of seminar on remembering Jallianwala Bagh massacre of 1919. Professor Anju Suri has been very actively involved in delivering keynote addresses during the international and national seminars held in various reputed colleges and universities, and has also presided over and delivered a series of extension lectures, web lectures in several colleges and universities of India. And she also has been the resource person in various orientation and refresher courses held by various universities of the country. And since November 2021, Professor Anju Suri is gracing the prestigious position of Dean College Development Council, Panjab University, Chandigarh. With these words, ma'am, I request you, the Honorable Professor Dr. Anju Suri, ma'am, to please address our assemblage of learners and intellectuals, ma'am, with your precious words of wisdom. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Madam Monica. I hope I'm audible, Professor
Yes,
Vishal.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible.
Most Honorable Padma Bhushan Shri S.P. Oswal ji, the Chairman Governing Body, Mr. D.K. Sadhwani ji, Secretary Governing Body, Chairman and Principal and very good colleague and friend, Professor Dr. Vishal Kumar, Madam Monica, the convener of the workshop, Professor Prakshit Manhas, the chairman of the Business School, University of Jammu, Professor Nawab Ali Khan, chairman, Department of Commerce, Aligarh Muslim University, decorated panelists, dear colleagues, students, the members of the organizing team, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. I, at the very outset, congratulate the principal and the organizing team for organizing this national workshop for 2 days on delivery and design of the case studies. It's truly an honor for me to be the part of this great event, and it was an absolute delight to listen to all the distinguished panelists. In fact, since I don't belong to the discipline of management, they have made my job easier because I was feeling that I'll be out of context otherwise, and because I am the odd person out, you know, not from being the student of management. So thank you very much for that. Case studies, I would like to dilate that this has been a very popular phenomenon which used to be extensively used in education and for a very, very long time in the schools of medical and law. Now they are being applied very extensively in instructional situations. In the School of Management and Business, this has been adopted as a very important and proactive teaching and learning pedagogy, and which would, of course, lead to maybe the new paradigms and, of course, the new visionary and innovative practices that we look forward to for the social progress of the society. Now, these case studies, they aim at learning in depth and learning with deeper stability by building upon the knowledge which we have already received and achieved from the education as well as from the experience. The case studies, they facilitate to bring theory into the practice, and it promotes the skill development, including the communication skills, the cognitive skill, the decision-making abilities of the students, and of course, the critical thinking, as has already been mentioned by our distinguished panelists. The college has taken a wonderful initiative by organizing this 2-day national workshop to train the faculty on the adoption of the case studies as the part and parcel of the knowledge system. Case studies expect from the students that they would identify the various problems. They would demonstrate their abilities in developing the theories as well as the policies which may be applied for decision making or for making recommendations in order to either address or prevent or resolve the issue or the problem. Case studies enhance immensely the analytical skills and provide the number of perspectives. The students, they are trained to become the problem solvers. Why? Because many times the students, they are led into the situation which is like a dilemma for them, which calls for very confusing and conflicting situation for them. And case studies, since they depict the realistic situations, these can help the students grasp and comprehend with the great genius the practical applicability of the conceptual knowledge which is taught to them by the teachers. Students' participation increases immensely in these case studies, and the role of the teacher also becomes very crucial in making the students grasp the situation and also to focus on the issue and the problem with undivided attention. So naturally, the teacher only can coax and rope in the students to focus on the problem, and the teacher has to underline what the issue is for the students, what is the objective of the analysis, what is the context of the problem, what are the key facts for the problem that needs to be considered by the students, and what are the possible alternatives or the solutions, and what finally are the recommendations and the justification of the recommendations as well. So of course, the role of the student, the teacher is as crucial as the student in the case study. As has already been underlined very beautifully by SP Oswalji and also by Professor Nawab and Professor Manhas, the case study helps the student become creative, innovative, committed, motivated, and it helps the student to work in collaboration, coordination as a team member. So the written as well as the oral communication skills of the students get chiseled with the case studies, which help them to become good managers and the good organizers, which is the ultimate aim, of course, of the whole workshop and the knowledge which is given in the management field. To master the strategy to become the transformative educator is the real gain of these case studies. Shri SP Oswalji has elaborated on the benefits of the case studies, which are immense and effective, the most effective for the students and for the learners. And we have learned from him that how, that there had not been any strike because of the case study that he had jotted down, and he had made the study from the team members. So these case studies, they lead to ask questions. They make the person very inquisitive. And in the social sciences, we have a number of examples where we see that Maharaja Ranjit Singh, though he was illiterate, but he was so inquisitive that he had modernized his army, artillery, on the basis of the knowledge that by the basis of his inquisitiveness and also the knowledge that he gained by asking repeated questions from all the European and the British officers who used to visit his darbar. And that is why he proved his ability and worked to become such a great Maharaja. So those questions are really important, and they are very, very relevant when you become inquisitive and you try to ask the questions to satiate your knowledge again and again. Of course, that makes the person more perfect and work with greater efficiency. Related with questions are the discussions. So the case studies initiate the discussions and continued discussions and the deliberations on a particular issue would solve the problem, would address the problem very, very amicably and to the great satisfaction. The scope of the case study also has to be underlined very, very clearly. And again, it invites the debates, questioning, and the comparisons, which are really important to grasp the problem. Understanding various perspectives is another aspect of the case study, which help us to understand the problem. And again, here I would like to emphasize on the point that there might be number of perspectives to a one issue, as has also been underlined and given example of by Shri S.P. Oswalji in his address. We see that there might be a number of perspectives, but our responsibility is that we must respect each of the perspectives. We must give a regard to each of the perspectives. Why? Because each perspective may emanate from the genius brain. So therefore, you just can't regard one perspective and disregard the other. You have to have a humble learner. And again, I would say here that Shri S.P. Oswalji is a great inspirational guru for all of us, where we have seen him as a visionary and missionary, as quoted by Dr. Vishal, in his introduction. So that is rightly said about him. So he has been the learner who has been learning the things humbly, and he says that one has to learn from his failures also to just go ahead, and one has to grow from achievement to achievement. And I think there cannot be any parallel example to Shri Oswalji. So by becoming the humble learner, one should know through the case studies more and more about less and less. So we have one case study, but we want to learn more and more about less and less. We would like to situate the case study in the chain of the events so that one can grasp the situation in totality, so that one case study could be bound together with the other case studies and one can grasp the situation and the event with the great knowledge and with a great efficiency. So we need to find the connectivity in the various case studies in order to grasp the event. And again, it is very important to compare one case study with the another, because comparisons are the backbone of all the researches. So naturally, to analyze the problem, to comprehend the situation and to resolve that situation, it is very important that we compare that problem with other problems. We compare one case study with other case study, so that, as again was pointed out by Shri Oswalji, that the socio-cultural ethos could be understood with perfection. In whether it is social science or whether it is science or whether it is other field, humanity, etc., etc., we aim at two important things. One is logical analysis and inquiry, and second is the progress of society. And if we all aim at the progress of society, then we must understand the fact that human being is a microcosm of the macrocosm. There are so many external pressures which are exerting on the mind and the actions of the human beings, and therefore they restrict those actions. So naturally, in order to grasp the situation in totality, all the major as well as the minor events in that chain have to be understood so that the society can progress. The empirical learning, of course, is going to be the greatest gain of the case studies workshop and all the training program that you shall have, in future. And here, again, one important thing is the time factor. Time should be considered as the multi-dimensional factor, because at the same time, the two regions or the two factories or the two enterprises, they cannot work at the same pace, the problems, the challenges, the issues, they will be different in two different places at the same time. The progress and development could be more at one place as compared to some other place at the same time. So time is the multi-dimensional factor which need to be considered, and accordingly, if there is the need for any adjustment, if there is a need for any new inputs and innovations that may help us, to resolve the problem, by for which the case studies, they become the edifice, and here lies the importance of these case studies, why they need to be studied. So with all these words, and of course, in the last, I would say that the field trips and the audio visual, the clips and the graphics, they all should be made the part of all these case studies when we are studying and examining the various issues. And collectively, of course, as today is the approach, which is called the multidisciplinary approach. So I'm very happy that you have invited me from being from the field of social sciences, so that I could also, add on a little bit of my knowledge to the knowledge of management. And I feel proud of the fact that, I am here today, because always it has been a learning experience, for every person like me. And I have drawn my own cup of knowledge from all the experts of the management who have dilated so beautifully. And Dr. Parikshit has beautifully explained the 5 mantras, which I highly appreciate. So naturally, this was a learning experience for me. And I wish the college and I wish the principal, Dr. Vishal, my best of luck for this workshop and for making this case studies the part of your curriculum and your knowledge system. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for this thought-provoking and very engrossing talk, and where you have also quoted the importance of the satisfaction of the inquisitiveness of the students, and even quoting examples from your own field of Punjab history. And I think your presence here is a proud moment for us, ma'am. And it is indeed a blessing for us to start this 2-day learning extravaganza in your gracious presence, ma'am. So thank you very much once again for gracing the occasion. And now, with these words, I would like to request my colleague, Dr. Jasprit Kaur, to extend a formal vote of thanks in honor of our esteemed guests. Dr. Jasprit.
Thank you so much, Monica, ma'am. Am I audible loud and clear?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good morning to all present. Greetings of the day. I, Dr. Jasprit Kaur, it's my privilege and with very utmost honor, I propose a formal vote of thanks in this inaugural session of 2-day workshop on delivery and designing of case studies. With the blessings of Almighty and hard work of our organizing committee, after a successful completion of 7-day FDP, we have organized this 2-day workshop on delivery and designing of case studies now. So for this, we are extremely grateful and thankful to our Honorable Chairman, Sir, Shri S.P. Oswal, the Chief Patron of this program. Thank you so much for your kind presence, sir, and thank you for sharing your words of wisdom with us and highlighting the importance of case study and telling us more about the practical experience which Vardhaman have faced in 1982. Thank you so much for your presence and thank you so much for sharing your words with us, sir. I also thank Mr. D.K. Sidwani, the Secretary Governing Body, also the patron of this workshop. Our worthy principal, Professor Dr. Vishal Kumar, the chairperson of this program, and I must mention the guiding light behind this workshop. Professor Vishal, Principal Sir, thank you so much for encouraging us, for giving us all this support and constantly pushing us towards organizing all these workshops, FDPs, and making us all more skillful and knowledgeable with this. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Also, I offer my bouquet of thanks to our honorable chief guest, Madam Professor Anju Suri. Madam, your words were really enlightening. I really appreciate, I feel short of words to thank you the way you explained the importance of case study, highlighting, all the facts from history as well. Thank you so much, ma'am. Gratitude to our esteemed guest of honor, Professor Parikshit Manhas. Sir, thank you so much for your gracious presence. Thank you so much for enlightening us with the skills required. You mentioned the skills required for writing the case studies. And we really appreciate your 5 mantras of success, AEIOU. I have mentioned down it in my notebook and I'll be sharing it with others as well. Thank you for giving us that, sir. My heartfelt gratitude and thanks to our esteemed keynote speaker, Professor NAWAB Ali Khan. Thank you so much, sir, for your enlightening words and highlighting the role of case studies in the research. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I will fall short of my duty if I do not acknowledge the prime presence of all the guests, dignitaries, HODs, research scholars, and all the participants in this workshop. Thank you all for joining us in this learning journey. Most important, and my thanks to our organizing committee, Madam Monica Sethi, the convener of this program, Madam Pooja Jain, the organizing secretary, and Professor Sanjay Gupta, the joint organizing secretary. Thank you, organizing committee, for this workshop. I hope and I wish that all of us will have a great learning experience together in this workshop. Once again, I extend my warm welcome to all the participants in this workshop, and thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, ma'am. Over to you, Monica.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jasprit. So once again, on behalf of the college, we are humbly obliged by the benign presence of all revered personalities who have joined today's event and graced us. Thank you so much. So now we have come to the closure of this inaugural ceremony. So dear participants, we shall be taking a short break and will reassemble for the first technical session of the workshop on the theme case teaching and discussion at 11:30. And it will be conducted by Dr. Pankaj Madan. So hope to see you again.
So thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much, Nawab Ali Khan sir. Thank you very much, Manhas sir, for gracing the occasion. And we are really blessed to have you at this moment. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am.